Things are changing. The environment is changing. The economy is changing. Your competition is changing. Your clients are changing. And you're not testing new ways of doing business. You're going to fall short. Typically, when we think about growing or scaling a business, we think about the practical elements such as making more money or revenue. We think about reducing our expenses. We think about having better operations or better people, having a better leadership team, having a competitive advantage. But there's something that's even more important when it comes to scaling your business that actually enables you to be able to execute on those tactical approaches. And it's what we call the core competencies, or the 8 core competencies for you to be able to scale your business. And these are essentially competencies that your people should have. So you as a business leader, your executive team, your management team, your frontline staff, or people within your organization, if you have these 8 competencies, you can also call them skills, you can also call them traits, abilities, whatever you want to call them for yourselves. If you ensure that your people are focusing on these 8 elements, that they're skilled in these 8 elements, that they learn to develop these skills, or what I'm going to call competencies, your business will scale a lot faster. And so these are the 8 that you need to focus on. The first one is strategic thinking. So you need to have people within your organization, particularly yourself and your executive team, who are strategic thinkers. And strategic thinking isn't just thinking about the future. It's taking a look at what the response may be from your competition, taking a look at how you can optimize your resources, seeing where you're best fit to really dominate the market. So there's a number of different elements when it comes into strategic thinking, but you want to ensure that you have strategic thinking. If you don't have a leadership team that has strategic thinking capabilities, or individuals on your teams that have strategic thinking capabilities, you need to build that competency. And you in particular. And that's why I like to say that CEOs are not necessarily chief executive officers or chief strategy officers. You are responsible for your strategy, because you're about what or where does this business need to go in the next 2 to 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You need to be able to do that. So most importantly, this competency is important for you. The second one is collaboration. And that is essentially, can people on your team, including yourself, collaborate as a team? Can they be very effective in terms of team performance? Can they be there to step in and help other people when they're in need? So true collaboration leads to scaling faster. You can have the best skilled people on your team, but if they don't know how to collaborate with each other, you're going to fall short. So it's important to have that. The third element is continuous improvement. So this is a competency. This is about, how do you actually improve on things? How do you get better? How do you improve your performance? How do you improve your operations? Are you looking to get better and better and better every day? A big element of continuous improvement is also mindset. It's a cultural element, because if one person is stagnant and not thinking about continuously improve, but the other person is, it will hold the organization back. You want to make sure that everybody on your team is constantly thinking this question: how do we do things better? And this element, the third element, kind of ties in with the fourth or fifth element as well. So the fourth element is also testing. There has to be a core competency of being able to test, especially when it comes to your strategy, especially when it comes to marketing, especially when it comes to your operations, because it's all about trying an approach and seeing if it leads to the results that you're looking for. And if it's not, how do you change it? How do you modify your approach? That's how you scale, right? Because if you're continuously doing the same thing over and over again, things are changing. The environment is changing. The economy is changing. Your competition is changing. Your clients are changing. And you're not testing new ways of doing business, you're going to fall short. So you definitely want to be testing. And then from the testing is that next element, which is learning, right? So you have learning next. If you're testing, you got to learn something from it as well. If you have people on your team who are constantly testing and learning, and then add that to the continuous improvement element, you're going to be so effective when it comes to scaling your business. But these all tie in together. You can't have one without the other. You can't be good at testing, but not learning, because then you're just testing a whole bunch of stuff and not actually learning the lessons you need to learn from it. So then the next element is actually accountability. Accountability, I can't stress this enough. Accountability is like the core of performance. And there's accountability at different levels. There's accountability within yourself as an individual. There's an accountability to your peers. There's an accountability to your manager. Now, you're the business owner. Your manager could be the board of directors, for example, or the shareholders. So you're accountable to them. And then you're also accountable to the organization. So there's 4 levels of accountability. Out of all of those levels, the most important level is self-accountability. You have to have individuals or competencies where each person within your organization is holding themselves accountable. So that's the 6th element. The 7th element is creativity. And creativity is so important because creativity allows you to test new ideas. Creativity allows you to continuously improve. And creativity isn't just brainstorming. There's a lot more that goes into creativity. There's a method and madness behind it. It is intentional. And so it is a competency. Right? It's not just random ideas. It's not just people being hit by these brilliant ideas while they're in the shower. There's a structured approach to creativity. And if you have a culture of creativity, you're going to be able to scale faster. And then the last element is problem solving. So you could also say ingenuity, which is basically the ability to overcome a challenge. And you also need to be creative to do that. You need to be able to test and learn to do that. So problem solving is important. I see a lot of people falling short when it comes to problem solving because a lot of people don't know how to problem solve. They think it's just coming up with ideas to overcome the challenge. There's actually a system and a method behind problem solving as well. It's a competency that you can build over time as you learn. Your people can learn this as well. And the better they are at problem solving. So think about it from this perspective. How many problems do you have to solve as a CEO or business owner? You're constantly putting out fires. You're constantly trying to solve problems. But what if everyone within your organization could solve their own problems? How awesome would that be? How many resources would you be able to save? How much time would you be able to save as an individual? How much faster could you scale? Because when one person isn't able to solve their own problem, they have to go to another person and then get a whole bunch of people involved, which there's nothing wrong with that if they can't solve it by themselves. But you're also wasting time. And speed is very important when it comes to scaling your business. And these 8 elements will allow you to have that speed that you're looking for. So let's regroup on these 8 elements again, right? I'm just going to repeat them so you have them in your head and you understand what they are. So you can go back to your business and do an inventory to see where you are doing great in terms of these 8 elements or 8 competencies and where you need to actually build these competencies. And so in order to build them, you need to have either trainers, you want to bring in external consultants or advisors, or you want to get your people to go through training courses or actually go through you can say the experiences, but having some training in these competencies will actually enable you to go through the experiences more efficiently and effectively because now they're able to look for the things that they should be looking for when they're going through the experience. Because learning from experience is great, but you also miss out on a few things. But if you learn something, if you have the core elements that you should be looking for as you go through the experience, it allows you to learn much faster and easier. So here's what the 8 elements are. The first one is strategic thinking. You need to be a strategic thinker and you need to have strategic thinking within your organization. The second one is collaboration. Collaboration is important. Everybody needs to be a team player. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. Everybody needs to be a team player. The third element is continuous improvement. So continuous want to do better, right? How do we do this better approach? The fourth element is testing. Can you test, which leads to the 5th element, which is learning. Learning is so important. And then you have the 6th element, which is accountability. Everybody should be accountable, which is self-accountability. They should be accountable to the team members, to their manager, and then to the organization. The 7th element is creativity. Remember, that's very important as well. And then the 8th element, the final element, is problem solving. You got to be able to solve problems. The faster you can solve problems, the faster you can scale. So if you build these 8 competencies within your organization, if you can make your organization proficient in these core competencies, watch your ability to scale. It's going to go up dramatically. So focus on these in terms of training, developing your people, and that will allow you to scale much faster.